Hotep Senu and Asenut. Ici, Ren I, chacun de Kukemen. What's going on? What's good? What's popping? Easy Medu Nature Learning. How are you? Oh, let me share the invite link. Let me share it. I've shared the invite link, brothers and sisters. I hope you're doing well. You already know the deal. I hope there will be some participation. And though it's Saturday night, so usually people go and have fun after this long week working to survive. Europe, we are at early hours. What time is it? EST. Oh, it's just 9 p.m. EST time. Easy. Oh, I have to change the title. Okay, I've changed it. Easy Medu Natural Learning. If you have questions about the Medu Natural, then feel free. For those who don't know, this is Amenhotep III, one of the most powerful ruler of Kemet. Now, for the new learners, you will have some material to practice with. I will come up with a few videos and remember to tell whoever you think might be interested that there's this way to learn the Medu Nature. We're gonna get serious. I'm very happy actually. It's been a long time that I've been looking forward to brothers and sisters getting on board. Now we have R2 who asked, well, Medu, I guess he meant to write Medu. Medu Nature is important now. It's as important as Hebrew and Aramaic, cuneiform writing that's being studied by scholars, the Phoenician that's being studied by scholars. Yes, it is important. Why isn't it important? Do you put more value on English and Spanish and Italian? Do you put more value? Can we revive it? Well, it is being revived. People around the world are learning it. I'm giving classes to people in different countries. What makes something valuable is really the importance that people place on it. What makes something holy is up to the people. If people decide that a location or that a writing is holy, that's the way it goes. See, with Islam, people can read Sahih Bukhari. Muslims used to pray towards Jerusalem. And later on, they changed and they started praying towards Mecca. Now, R2 is asking, I mean, can black people revive it, not whites? Anybody can learn a language. A language, now, an ancient language might be related to a particular ethnic group, yes, indeed. But at this point, anybody can learn a language. As a matter of fact, there's many white people who learn the Medu Neter, and some people might disagree. There might be more white people that knows the Medu Neter than black people. Not only there's plenty of white people that knows the Medu Neter, but there's plenty of white people who are actually practicing the ancient Egyptian religion. Hebrew was revived. At one point, it wasn't really spoken like that. It was more of a liturgical language. And they decided to revive it using a fair bit of Yiddish, coming up with, you know, new system, new rules, and so on, based on the ancient writing. See, if people have time, they should feel free to have a look and type Hebrew revival, and you will see for yourselves. Now, I'm aware, as some people say, that the Medu Neter has not been deciphered. It's funnier than anything to me. Funnier than anything to me. I have a video. I'll go straight to the nitty gritty right from the start. The title is Proof of the Decipherment of the Medu Neter. I'm going to share the link in the chat. People can have a look in their own time. Right from the beginning, I deal with the issue, and then because it was it the live stream? Yes, it was a live stream, so obviously I went and answered the questions. People figured it was cool to talk about Kemet. They took on Kemetic names, and at one point they realized that they didn't have the knowledge of the language. And instead of learning it, they preferred to say, well, it has not been deciphered. So some people will have you thinking that you need to be initiated in order to understand the language, which is not accurate at all. You don't need to belong to any particular group to learn the language of the Medu Neter. You don't even need to go to Kemet to learn the language of the Medu Neter. Yeah, for years, there are so many people talking about Kemet, bearing Kemetic names. But when it came to the knowledge of the language, are some of you aware of that video that is still online today? It's probably 12 years old now. I will double check. 13 years ago. 13 years ago. The video of the dude claiming that we had a hieroglyphic sign meaning Allah. Many people believed it. That was really sad. Really sad. I stood up to the plate and demonstrated that it didn't mean Allah whatsoever. And we had a whole Kemetic community back then already. And nobody came out to say, well, no, it doesn't mean that. Two is asking, why do you trust that it's deciphered? Well, that's the link that I've shared. Proof of this decipherment of the Medu nature. The link is in the chat. Now, here we have the name Ptolemy written with hieroglyphic. Okay? Now, the Rosetta Stone was discovered. Is it? It's in the 1800s. In the 1800s, something like that. As a matter of fact, let me be more precise. I'm going to open Encyclopedia Britannica. Well, actually, it was 1799. So I was close when I said 1800. Keep the comments going, brothers and sisters. I will go through them. So if we make the calculation, the era of the Ptolemies, that's like 400, 300 BC. And not to be confused with the scientist and the mathematician. Yes, 300. Ptolemy the First, the Macedonian general of Alexander the Great, who became ruler of Egypt from 323 to 285. So we just add, let's say, those 285 years before the Common Era, and then we have the 1799, right? So we have 2000 years. 2000 years before the Rosetta Stone was discovered, we can see that the name Ptolemy was written, and it does much because that's a Greek name. But I'm not playing the video. I'll just go forward. So here you have a transcript of a text with with three cartouches and the name Ptolemy. And we even have the name Cleopatra written there. But we have an original artifact. There it is. That's from the Louvre Museum. And this actually spells Alexander. Some of you heard about Alexander the Great. And you can see the cartouche. That's the name of the king. So that's the breakdown of the artifact. And then here it is. Here's the artifact. Here's the artifact. Now, I'm sure I will show the date. There it is. Now, this is French. But right there, first it says the name of the king Alexander in hieroglyphic. And it says circa or around. It's more around than circa. We use circa uh, in French as well. Now, around 330 BC, which means that it's 2000 years before the Rosetta Stone was found. And it does match. Why? Simply because the Greek language, I'm sorry, the Medu was still spoken when the Greeks were in Kemet. So it's not as if nobody heard the sounds, the language of the Medu. And then they say, it says, that's a description of the artifact. And the reference is there. Now, I'm not sure if it's an E, but then you have 30890. But I believe I probably read the reference, so you can hear the letter if you check the video. Alexander the Great conquered Egypt in 332 BC and became pharaoh. On the monuments, his Greek name, Alexandros, was transcribed in an oval called cartouche, just like that of ancient rulers, with the help of alphabetical signs that they had in the hieroglyphic system. On this fragment is written from right to left, Alexandris. So I'll leave it there for now, and I will go through the comments. We have Te Tapua Roberts. He wrote, Hi, Amon Rapta, the one true God. We have the same story in Polynesia. Are you in Polynesia? Or are you from Polynesia? We believe all indigenous are related. The most precious thing in the world us to us is people. We have Big T. How you doing? It's been a little while. And then Tapua wrote, we are all from Egypt, ancient Kemet. I don't know if we can say that. I think it's a bit of a shortcut to say that. People shouldn't feel like, okay, if I'm Kemetic, if I decide to be Kemetic or I decide to follow Ma'at, then I have to claim to be from ancient Egypt. Just like people who decide to become Muslims don't claim to be from Arabia. And people who decide to be Jewish don't claim to descend from Canaan. R2 wrote, only few glyphs are on the Rosetta Stone. How did they decipher all the other? The Rosetta Stone is not the only artifact which has the Greek and the Medu writing of the same text. We also have correspondence between rulers of Kemet and foreign rulers. So the name of the foreign rulers are written on this cuneiform writing. But besides that, we have the Coptic, still spoken to this day, even though it's more of a liturgical language, and the Coptic is the latest phase, the latest stage of the Medu Nature. So that makes it easy. People have studied that language for a very long time. Many people have studied it over the world. Maybe the problem is the word deciphering, because people tend to think that we didn't have knowledge of the Medu Nature at all, even though the Coptic is still there. But remember, when the Greeks took control of Kemet, the Greeks were in the land when the Medu Nature was still spoken. So when they will write names of rulers with the Greek language, the Greek script, it would not exactly match phonetically, but it will still match, at least with the consonants. Now, this is just an analogy, but it's a bit strange to me that we have scholars throughout the world, throughout the world, who studied the hieroglyphic writing system. People who went all the way to PhD, and apparently they are all wrong. And some people who have never studied it, they are all right. This would be strange, and it makes me think about medicine. Now, the vaccine for the COVID is a big debate, but vaccines in general, there's been a lot of wrongdoings in medicine. And the book, Medical Apartheid, goes over this. But the majority of people who have so much to say against medicine or Western slash modern medicine, when they are sick, that's where they go to, right to the hospital. So whoever wants to say that all the Egyptologists in the world, all the PhDs, and all the linguists are wrong, be my guest. You can go ahead and say that. On the real. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it a buck. Because of the Abrahamic narrative, ancient Egypt is not shown in a good light. So, Abrahamic believers and former Abrahamic believers, they have some sort of disdain for ancient Egypt sometimes. And even if they don't have that disdain, it's just easier to say it hasn't been deciphered. But then they need to say that the Hebrew hasn't been deciphered, because once again, the Hebrew language went through a reconstruction phase. We need to be fair. Nobody running around talking about the Hebrew hasn't been deciphered. Hebrew being a Canaanite dialect, shouldn't we keep it a buck? One of the oldest Arabic inscription was not even with the Arabic script, and I've shown it to y'all. Did anybody running around saying the Arabic hasn't been deciphered because the old one of the oldest Arabic inscription is not even with the Arabic script? The argument of the Medu nature not being deciphered, to me, it's embarrassing. Why will people pick and choose with scholarship? Or these people who run around talking about ancient history, who do they quote? They quote scholars, they quote PhDs. So they trust the PhDs regarding anything about ancient history, but not the Mendo nature. That's not fair at all. It doesn't make sense at all. And that right, brothers and sisters? What's your take on that? All the discussion, all the books, all the debates, people tend to quote authorities, specialists, experts, scholars, academic, right? So they trust the work of these specialists. But when it comes to the meta nature, oh no, 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 no. That doesn't make sense at all. As a matter of fact, do the scholars say that the meta nature has not been deciphered? No, they don't say that. Who says that the meta nature has not been deciphered? In writing, in a publication, in a published book, I know one person that some people label a doctor. I don't know if he had his doctorate degree. As a matter of fact, I will check, but on his own book, I don't think he labels himself a doctor. Inspire One has been a long time. How you doing, brother? So, and for the record, people used to like to say, "Oh well, he released his book. Nobody refuted him." Well, he has been refuted in a published work. A book was written just to refute his claims. So, indeed, in his first book, he never labeled himself an author, and I'm sure in the second book it will be the same. Some people like the easy route. I bought that book in 2007. Yeah, same thing for his second book. He never labeled himself a doctor. So at one point, one will be justified in saying that to all those who claim that the Medu nature has not been deciphered, and really it's a minority. Don't get me wrong, it's a minority. Sometimes a minority can make a lot of noise because this minority, for the most part, are a bunch of anonymous, unidentified people, and they will not debate the matter. They will talk about it, but they will not debate the matter. They should state outright that all the scholars in the world that deal with the hieroglyphic are wrong. It will be a difficult task. So one will be justified in stating that whoever is quoting a scholar that deals with the meta nature should just stop quoting that scholar. Because if the meta nature has not been deciphered, it means that that scholar that they are quoting for the other historical issues is on some BS, is on some nonsense. So there's a language that has not been deciphered, and we have scholars that tell you, okay, this symbol means that, this set of glyphs mean that word. And when you have this glyph that gives you suffix pronoun, that gives you the feminine form, that gives you the plural form, that gives you the dual form, they're just making stuff up. Should we? Come on, man. I mean, it's funny. I'd rather people say, you know what, I don't want to learn it. I just want to keep talking the same talk. And that's better. I respect that. I respect if people say, I just don't want to learn it. They don't have to say they are lazy to learn it. It's all good. There's no obligation to learn it. But just say, I don't want to learn it. Don't say it hasn't been deciphered. Come on now. Or be fair and say the Hebrew hasn't been deciphered either. So that's apparently the root of the Abrahamic belief system. It's problematic. So they will not say that, will they? They don't have much respect for African stuff. They have so much respect for Asiatic stuff. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Over a book released in, is it 1992? 1992 or something. And someone makes an argument over 2 pages. People used to talk about that book as if he made a breakdown and he went thoroughly with it. Come on now. And even with the claims of the book, the second book, he was challenged to a debate publicly. He never stood up to the plate. As a matter of fact, I never seen that debate. Apparently, he had a discussion online, you know, and I didn't watch it to be honest with you, because I know the language, I know the Medu nature. There's plenty of books written by different scholars about the Medu nature, and then again, people will have to say that academia is wrong. And funny, I mean, I will leave it there. I will leave it there. I will leave it there. That's something that we had two people who have some influence, and they were of the opinion that the Medu nature has not been deciphered. So people used to roll with it because you have a lot of people who follow people blindly. They heard somebody saying something, and they just repeat it. Now, Inspire One is asking, are you familiar with Brother Jabari Ozaz's wife, Anika? I think it's Onika. She teaches the Medu nature. Yes, she does. She does. It's $50 per class. I'll charge $10 per class. There's one black dude running around talking about the ancient Egyptians were white. So funny. Amenhotep the Third, Akhenaten's father. I'm really happy to have this as a background, so I don't have to look for the video like I used to. This is taken from the Louvre Museum's website. No, so maybe some funny dudes we try to say, "Well, that's Photoshop." They photoshopped that painting. It's a wall painting. They photoshopped that wall painting. Okay, now R2 is saying if you trust that it's deciphered, might as well trust the Bible too. What does it have to do with the Bible? But it's all good, brother. Like I said, most of the people who said that the Medu has not been deciphered are anonymous and unidentified. I know three people who are not anonymous and unidentified, that stated publicly that the Medu has not been deciphered. Everybody else that say hasn't been deciphered are anonymous and unidentified. And I think deep down inside, they know that if they come publicly, not being anonymous, showing their face and making that statement, they will make a fool out of themselves. Let me ask you all too: has the Hebrew language been deciphered? I'm curious to hear your answer. I can't wait for your answer. Has the Hebrew language been deciphered? Big T wrote, Arthur is going hard. The Bible is all tales, great hits. It might not be all tales. We have to be careful because if we make statements like that and they point out, okay, in that particular passage, the Bible is talking about some historical event or historical person, then they will feel like they had a great victory. See, you said that the Bible is all tales, but actually that person existed in history and is mentioned in the Bible, or that even happened in history and is mentioned in the Bible. But I would say it's mostly tales, yes. So R2, what's going on, bro? I don't know if you're a bro or sis, but what's going on? Has the Hebrew been deciphered? Inspired One is asking, Akhenaten the Fourth and Moses same person? There's a book on how Moses was based on Akhenaten the Fourth. Well, there might be a few. There might be a few. Um, I read one of those. Um, yeah, I read the one by Ahmed Osman, but that's the one that I read. Now, before I go about the book, R2 replied, I don't know, but they said they never stopped writing it. You see, R2 claims or is of the opinion that the Medunata has not been deciphered. When we ask him if the Hebrew has been deciphered, he's like, I don't know. Why don't you say I don't know for the Medu Neter? Then he further added, but they say they never stop writing it. Mm, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. Because if they never stop writing it, why would they need the Yiddish to revive the language? So the book, that's the one I read. The books like that really, I think they're not really helpful for our purpose because we have been trapped into the Abrahamic belief system. Sorry, which is not our culture. And books like this will actually keep our people into the belief system more than anything. It will comfort people into saying, well, actually Moses existed, but Moses was Akhenaten. No, Moses was not Akhenaten. Now, R2 says Yiddish is German. How can it be used to revive Hebrew? You ask me. Ask Jewish people. Or are you implying that you are doubting that they use Yiddish in order to revive Hebrew? I wouldn't say Yiddish is German though. Big T wrote R2 is taking an educated approach. I understand that. If people want to get on the panel, I've shared the invite link, but you must show your face. If you are not ready to show your face, then we can communicate via the chat. Inspireman wrote, but there is a way to demonstrate that African spirituality is the foundation of Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. It can show how they influence on the Abrahamic belief system. Well, I understand what you mean, but lately we have some brothers who pay white scholars to refute fellow black scholars because they are really not happy about people saying that Kemet, the writings of Kemet, had influence on Abrahamic belief system, particularly Christianity. And they love to stick to December 25th and the Jesus slash Horus parallels or similarities. They love to stick to that, but they're very silent about the great hymn to Aten and Psalm, I believe it's 104. But for those who haven't seen the video, Kemet and Ma'at, let me share the link. And they're quite silent also regarding the wisdom of Amenemope in the book of Proverbs. But I think one of the most striking similarity, not to say plagiarism, is definitely the great hymn to Aten and the book of Psalm. So they are playing games. Big T wrote Yiddish is High German, so Hebrew is more High German as well. Well, if we're saying that Yiddish is German, and we might as well say English is German, because Yiddish is a Germanic language. All right. Arthur wrote no contention, just asking, no problem at all, no problem at all. But we need to be fair. We need to be fair. We need to be fair. No, I don't recall you saying outright the Medu has not been deciphered, but your line of questioning seems to indicate that you are of the opinion that it has not been deciphered. So we need to be fair. We should have the same fairness regarding the Hebrew language. Now, I will look for a reputable website. I don't like quoting from Wikipedia. Okay, I don't really know this website. Let me see. Jerusalem Post. Now, I'm not about to quote from Wikipedia. I'm about to quote from the Jerusalem Post. And according to Wikipedia, the Jerusalem Post is a broadsheet newspaper based in Jerusalem, founded in 1932. Founded in 1932 during the British Mandate of Palestine. So that goes way back. It was called the Palestine Post. And in 1950, it changed its name to the Jerusalem Post. So I would presume that, we can quote from this because it's from them. It's their own paper, right? So first I'm sharing the link. And this article is Revival of the Hebrew Language. So, Jerusalem Post, Revival of the Hebrew Language. And I don't even know what it's going to say. Okay? It's not something that I use because I know that whatever is stated in that article will suit my position. Let me share the screen. Is it large enough? Yes, it's large enough. Fair enough. Okay. Let's deal with this. Let's see what they say. Now, this article was written or published October 15, 2010. Revival of the Hebrew language. The process began on October 13, 1881. In 1881, they revived the Hebrew language. As Eliezer ben Yehuda and his friends agreed to exclusively speak Hebrew in their conversations. So it's as if we get together and we agree to exclusively speak Medu Neter. Now, Big T saying is going to say exactly what you stated, Bro Shaka. Well, hopefully, Otherwise, it will be a bad look for me, and I will have to look for other sources. So that's a picture of Ben Yehuda, a picture, maybe a painting. You know, we don't have the picture credit. The process of the Hebrew language revival began on October 13, 1881, as Eliezer Ben Yehuda and his friends agreed to exclusively speak Hebrew in their conversations. As a result, the language, which had not been spoken as a mother tongue since the second century CE, once again became the national language of Israel. Some 3,000 years earlier, when the Jewish people first arrived in Israel with Joshua, here they went straight to theology, you know, but we're supposed to take it as some historical facts. Hebrew was established as the national language and lasted for more than a millennium until the Bar Kokhba War in 135 CE. Before I go further, I will look for Joshua so we can have a date. Well, on Britannica, Encyclopedia Britannica, we don't have any date. Okay, so we'll just use the dates given by Wikipedia. I will search for BC. You go to historicity, they're saying the apparent setting of Joshua is the 13th century BCE, right? An interesting thing is that if I go to Hebrew language on Britannica, Encyclopedia Britannica, they should give us a date. If I do BC, hold on. Just want to give you a date. I mean, I know. Okay, now just so that you know, I'm not making it up. I will stop this sharing and put Britannica, though it will be quite small on the screen. Yeah, it's quite okay. You can still read it if you go on full screen mode. So I don't know if it will show when I'm highlighting. But here it says that's the last sentence of the second paragraph. In addition to the Old Testament, a small number of inscriptions in Hebrew of the biblical period are extant. The earliest of these is a short inscription in Phoenician characters dating from the 9th century BC. Okay? 9th century BC. And usually, when you look up Hebrew language, they will tell you that it goes back to the 10th century BC. So basically, 1000 BC. Joshua, we were told, is from 13th century BC, 1300 BC, 1300 BC, which means that the Hebrew language was not in existence. But it's okay. That was just for the record. I'm going back to the article. What's going on now? Okay. Okay. We stopped. Okay, I stopped there 135 CE. From that point on, Hebrew was exclusively used for literature and prayer until the late 19th century with the first Aliyah and Ben Yehuda. Now, Aliyah, that's when Jewish people decide to go and settle in Israel, to Israel. My understanding, that's what it is. Born in 1858, Ben Yehuda grew up in Belarus, formerly part of the Russian Empire, where he started studying the Bible. At the age of 3, he started learning in a cheder, a yeshiva for young children, where he learned ancient Hebrew. By the time he was 12, Ben Yehuda was familiar with large portions of Torah, Mishnah, and Talmud. Hoping he would become a rabbi, his parents sent him to a yeshiva where he continued studying Torah and ancient Hebrew. In the following years, he learned French, German, and Russian, and traveled to Donauburg, Latvia, for further education. With the rise of Jewish nationalism in 19th century Europe, Ben Yehuda was captivated by innovative ideas of Zionism. While reading the Hebrew language newspaper Ashahar, he became acquainted with Zionism and concluded that the reviving that's what he says, and concluded that the reviving the Hebrew language in the land of Israel will unite all Jews worldwide. And so in 1881, Ben Yehuda made Aliyah and came to live in Jerusalem. At that time, it was believed that one of the criteria needed to define a nation worthy of national rights was its use of a common language spoken by both the society and the individual. In fact, Ben Yehuda regarded Hebrew and Zionism as one and the same, writing that the Hebrew language can live only if we revive the nation and return it to the fatherland. According to researchers, it appears that in the 50 years preceding the start of the revival process, a version of spoken Hebrew already existed in the markets of Jerusalem. The Sephardic Jew, the Sephardic Jews who spoke Ladino or Arabic, and the Ashkenazi Jews who spoke Yiddish needed a common language for commercial purposes, and the most obvious choice was Hebrew. It should be noted that it was not a native mother tongue as such, but more of a pidgin. Now, I don't know if you ever heard the term pidgin, but there's something called pidgin English. It's some sort of Creole. So it's sort of a language. Not saying that someone that speaks pidgin English will not understand someone that speaks standard English, but at some point there might be some misunderstanding and confusion. And most likely, the people who speak pidgin English will probably understand English speakers more than an English speaker will understand a pidgin English speaker. But I digress. Keep the comments going, and I will go through them. As part of his vision of reviving Hebrew, Ben Yehuda raised his son, Ben Zion Ben Yehuda, the first name meaning son of Zion. Speaking entirely in Hebrew, he refused to let his son be exposed to other languages during childhood. It is said he once reprimanded his wife for using a Russian lullaby to the child. As a result, his son Ben Zion became the first native speaker of modern Hebrew. You notice here they put modern Hebrew? Modern Hebrew. That's interesting. Ben Yehuda was a major figure in the establishment of the Committee of the Hebrew Language, Vaad Halashon. Now, we can see they came up with a committee for the Hebrew language. If the Hebrew language was still spoken, why would they need a committee for it? But then again, some people will say, well, the English language is still spoken. There are some committee. We don't really see modern English, but it's all good. Later, the Academy of the Hebrew Language, an organization that still exists today, he wrote the first modern Hebrew dictionary and became known as the reviver of the Hebrew language. So the first modern Hebrew dictionary, that's about, 1880 and so on. However, while he worked tirelessly to raise awareness and fought its opponents, what finally brought about the revitalization of the Hebrew were not Ben Yehuda's activities in Jerusalem, but developments in the communities of the first Aliyah and the second Aliyah. So we have 1904 to 1914. The first Hebrew schools were established in these communities. Hebrew increasingly became a spoken language of daily affairs and finally became a systematic and national language. Yet Ben Yehuda's fame and notoriety stems his, I'm sorry, from his initiation and symbolic leadership of the Hebrew revival. Now, it's not really dealing with the language that much. It's talking about the movement more than anything. So I don't think I will. Well, it's the end anyway. It's the end of the article. So there we have it. There we have it. Now, R2 wrote, did they ever stop knowing the script like Medunetta thought? Script and spoken language are two different things. Yes, indeed. Script and, yeah. Um, but once again, if 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 they never stop knowing the script, why would they add Yiddish? Why would they add a Germanic language? We don't add no Germanic language for the Medu Neter. We don't need to. And R2 wrote the Hebrew language was revived, not the script. Medu Neter script was revived. Who said that the Medu Neter script was revived? Who said that? Says who? Says you? The script that we use in different fonts, you can find them on original artifacts dated 2000 BC, 1500 BC, before the Hebrew language was in existence. Now, maybe I will need to look for an article that talks about the Yiddish. But I don't like using Wikipedia. Oh, do they have an article about the Britannica, about a revival? Apparently not. But I'm not surprised that this kind of thing is not really highlighted. It's not really a good look for people to realize, well, in order to reconstruct the Hebrew language, we use a Germanic language. Our Inspired One wrote, R2 needs to sign into the broadcast. Well, I don't think he will. Otherwise, he would have hollered. But he's welcome to do so. R2 wrote, I've been in the cult before, just like to ask questions now. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. But with the Medu Neter or hieroglyphic, once again, we have scholars from around the world. Now we have the old timers, Wallis Budge, Gardiner, Faulkner, Lepsius, and we have contemporary ones, Bia Manley, um, James P. Allen, Reketi Amen, Theophilo Benga, who is a linguist, inspired one wrote, "Intelligence and respectful discourse is necessary for all of us to be better." It's true. It's true. It's true, definitely. And I think that all through the years, even though I'm aware that most people will not scroll through the videos, but all through the years, I'm sorry, people can definitely vouch the fact that usually there's no rah rah stuff going on when I'm live streaming. There was time that when there was disagreement and maybe a little bit heated, but for the most part, it doesn't really get out of hands, and it's important. So yes, I was talking about all these scholars around the world. I just gave a few names, but you have, people who deal with the hieroglyphic language, and I'm talking about PhDs all around the world. We are far from a cult. We are far from a cult. That's academia. That's scholarship. It's important to know. I want people to understand when we are talking about the Medu nature language that the Greeks call hieroglyphic, which is a literal translation of the term Medu nature. And by the way, Medu nature does exist. We found that on the glyphs. We find that on original artifacts in many places in the world. It's not something we made up. So when we're talking about the Medu nature language or hieroglyphic language being spoken or read, probably more read than spoken because there's not an absolute consensus regarding the pronunciation, but the writing itself remained the same. When we talk about the hieroglyphic language, it's not something that Pan Africans or African centered or pro black people came up with. This is something that academia around the world acknowledges. I hope that our people understand that. I hope there's no confusion about that. I'm not saying this as if, well, since European or Westerners acknowledge the hieroglyphic writing, then that makes it legit. Just stating as a fact, and as a matter of fact, once again, around the world, it's not just in the Western world, it's not just in the Western world that Egyptology is an academic field. I suspect that we have snakes in the community, just like we had snakes during the COINTELPRO era, and we don't know if the COINTELPRO era is over. So when the COINTELPRO came to fruition, people were more revolutionary. People were more revolutionary, and we know the struggle of the civil rights movement, the Black Panther Party, and so on. So we should not rule out that there's a possibility that some black people will receive either money or privileges in order to deter black folks from dealing with ancient history and so that they can remain into the Western paradigm of the Abrahamic belief system. I think we should not rule that out because the same people who are black and trying to put out inconsistencies with Kemet or ancient Egypt, they don't have that same quote unquote open-minded reasoning when it comes to the Abrahamic belief system narratives. Big Big T wrote they PhDs acknowledge it and try to hide it at the same time. Well, you need to be more specific. What would they try to hide? I think they will rather try to hide or rule out the blackness of the ancient Egyptian. And this is Amenhotep III. We know the deal. For those who don't know the deal, they will talk about black pharaohs of the 25th dynasty, Taharqa, you know, the Nubians. That's what they like to do. But everybody's free to ask them. This picture, if you type in Louvre, Louvre, space, Amenofis, A-M-E-N-P, I'm sorry, Amenopphis, space, three-letter three-letter I. You can put it in lowercase or uppercase. It stands for the third, of course. If you type that, you scroll down, you look for the website that says Louvre, and maybe it will say wall painting. As a matter of fact, if you use Google search, you have the pictures showing for the results. So you will see this picture in the result as you scroll down. So you can send the link to any PhD of your choice. You have their contact details on the university websites, and you can ask them. This is from the Louvre Museum. It's Amenhotep III. It does look black to me. What would you say about his ethnicity? And wait for their response. It will be difficult for them to say, oh, he was actually Caucasian. They will probably tell you, well, he was from the Middle East and Mediterranean people were mixed. So we had all kind of people. But if someone is robbed or assaulted by someone who looks like him, they're gonna say, oh, well, he looked mixed, looked like he had some mix from everywhere. Maybe the Middle East, the Mediterranean, Mediterranean type. No, they will say, I was assaulted by a black dude. I was robbed by a black dude. Don't you think so? Now, R2 is asking, would you say your faith in what's told? I don't understand. Would you say your faith in what's told to you about Kemet is like the Abrahamic followers? I don't understand that question. You have to rephrase it for me. Inspired One wrote, R2, I'm calling you out even though Brother Shaka is too respectful. R2, your questions are very suspicious. I'm going to be diplomatic. I feel like R2 is being unfair when we read his statements towards the Hebrew language because he was asking if the Hebrew script was not used all the time. Now I'm paraphrasing. He can correct me. But with the Medu Neter, he even implied that the script was revived, and I never heard that from anyone. And I actually asked him where that come from. Does that come from him? He didn't reply, but it's all good. It's all good. Now, R2 wrote that's what the court would tell me. So apparently, according to R2, the PhDs, the doctors, people who had a doctorate degree, now being manly, isn't he from Australia? No, he's from Glasgow, Liverpool. Actually, he taught in Glasgow. He taught Egyptology in Glasgow, Liverpool, and Madrid, even in Spain. Um, I think there was one in Australia that has some notary uh, that's quite known. But anyway, so apparently, according to R2, there is a possibility that we're dealing with a cult when we talk about PhDs around the world, which means that Zahi Hawass, who is an Egyptian, probably a Muslim, Bir Malay, who is from England, and all the other PhDs who are in different locations. Okay, we have some correction now. Now, Big T wrote, that's what I meant, Bro Shaka. And R2 said, it's Medu Nature, brother. Please write it with a U at the end, not Meda, Medu. Medu Nature wasn't revived, sorry, it was deciphered. So we're saying it was deciphered, really, because Champollion was lucky to have the Rosetta Stone, and because the same text is written with the hieroglyphic script and the Greek language, that's how he worked out the different symbols and their phonetic values. And since we had the Greek, he was able to work out the meaning of the different set of glyphs beyond their phonetic values. Before him, other people have been working on the Medu Nature. So there was some knowledge of the Medu Nature. Before that, some people say, now I don't know the names of those people, but some people say that some Muslims, or some would say some Arabs, also worked on the Medu Nature and they had some knowledge. But we really say decipher because Champollion came across that thing, the Rosetta Stone. Arthur is asking, tell me when Hebrew script was deciphered. I couldn't answer that. But since you're asking about the Hebrew script, that's quite interesting. Now, let's have a look at. I don't know if they will talk about the Phoenician script. The funny thing is that sometimes Wikipedia has more information than Encyclopedia Britannica, but Encyclopedia Britannica is more reliable. Though many times, many articles on Wikipedia actually derive from Encyclopedia Britannica or other encyclopedias. So let's talk about the script. Well, the script. Let's talk about the Hebrew language. Oh, is there any entry for script? Okay, Hebrew alphabet. There it is. I saved myself some time. Hopefully, they will talk about the Phoenician. Now, if you can, make sure that you go on full screen mode. Hebrew alphabet. Either of two distinct Semitic alphabets, the early Hebrew and the classical or square Hebrew. Early Hebrew was the alphabet used by the Jewish nation in a period before the Babylonian exile, i.e., prior to the 6th century BC, although some inscriptions in this alphabet may be of a later date. Several hundred inscriptions exist. As is usual in early alphabets, early Hebrew exists in a variety of local variants also show development over time. The oldest example of early Hebrew writing, the Gezer calendar, dates from the 10th century BC. Remember earlier I told you that usually Hebrew will go back 10,000, 10th century BC, 1000 BC. That's the date usually that, you know, scholars will give us. And the writing use va- and the and the writing use varies little from the earliest North Semitic alphabet. The early Hebrew alphabet, like modern Hebrew variety, had 22 letters with only consonants represented and was written from right to left. But the early alphabet is more closely related in letter from, I'm sorry, but the early alphabet is more closely related in letter form to the Phoenician than to the modern Hebrew. Its only surviving descendant is the Samaritan alphabet, still used by a few hundred Samaritan Jews. So I will read because the entry is not long. And I will go back to the last sentence. Well, the sentence before last. Before the 6th and 2nd century BC, classical or square Hebrew gradually displaced the Aramaic alphabet, which had replaced early Hebrew in Palestine. Square Hebrew became established in the 2nd and 1st century BC and developed into the modern Hebrew alphabet over the next 1500 years. It was apparently derived from the Aramaic alphabet rather than from early Hebrew, but was nonetheless strongly influenced by the early Hebrew script. Classical Hebrew showed three distinct forms from the 10th century AD: Square Hebrew, a formal or bookhand, rabbinical or Rashi writing employed by medieval Jewish scholars, and various local cursive scripts, of which the Polish German type became modern cursive form. So I want to read again this sentence. The early Hebrew alphabet, like modern Hebrew variety, sorry, had 22 letters with only consonants represented and was written from right to left. But the early Hebrew alphabet, is more closely related in letter form to the Phoenician than to the modern Hebrew. So all this to say that the Hebrew script derived from the Phoenician script. Big T is saying they missed us African people. They missed what they missed. I guess she meant to write. Uh, she or he. The avatar is small. Let me see on the website. Well, please correct me. But they messed us up with Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad. It's hard to give it up. It's like crack. Abraham and these boys don't respect Nile Valley civilization. Well, that's true. For the most part, Abrahamic believers do not respect the Nile Valley civilization. And the majority of black people are Abrahamic believers. So the majority of black folks don't respect the Nile Valley civilization, which is a great black African civilization. Arthur wrote the square script is what they use now. Phoenician is close to the Proto-Sinaitic that branched off Medu Neter. Medu Neter predates Phoenician. Now, Giza calendar, there's nothing. For Phoenician, Phoenician language. Once again, make sure you're on full screen mode. And by the way, whenever you see that, this is Encyclopedia Britannica 2012. The website is the software that I purchased. I'm not saying that to brag or to act holier than that. I'm just saying it for the record. Phoenician language, a Semitic language of the northern central, often called northwestern group, spoken in ancient times on the coast of Syria and Palestine in Tyre, Sidon, Byblos, and neighboring towns, and in other areas of the Mediterranean colonized by Phoenicians. Phoenician is very close to Hebrew and Moabite, with which it forms the Canaanite subgroup of the northern central Semitic languages. The earliest Phoenician inscriptions probably date from the 11th century BCE. The latest inscription from Phoenicia proper is from the 1st century BCE, when the language was already being superseded by Aramaic. In addition to being used in Phoenicia, the language spread to many of its colonies. In one, the North African city of Carthage, a later stage of the language known as Punic became the language of the Carthaginian Empire. Punic was influenced throughout its history by the Amazigh language and continued to be used by North African peasants until the 6th century CE. Phoenician words are found in classical Greek and Latin literature, as well as in writing in the Egyptian, Akkadian, and Hebrew languages. The language is written with a 22 character alphabet that does not indicate vowels. The Phoenician writing system survived in the Tifinagh script of the Tuareg who live in southern Sahara. What a coincidence that we read about the Hebrew and we were told that there was 22 letters dealing with the consonants only, and the Phoenician alphabet has 22 letters dealing with consonants. What a coincidence. Arthur wrote the Phoenician, copied Medu Neter. We can say that the Medu Neter is an influence of the Phoenician. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, you can share this with all your friends and relatives. Now, this is the website address that you have there, afrostyle.com/English, but you have the link in the description. And once you are there, you can scroll to the bottom of the page, and here it says, this is a third line of the smallest characters, Medu Neter. It says Medu Neter, origin of the Greek and Latin alphabet. And once you click on that link, that's what you find, which is taken from Anthony Brother's book, Nile Valley Contribution to Civilization. And is it what, page 171? Is it? No. Well, yeah, 170 and 171. And here we have the Kemetic and the Semitic, the Aleph, the Ox, Aleph Bet. Alphabet comes from Aleph Bet. And then the Phoenician. So we have a stilized form of the ox's head, which was towards the side or the left, and ultimately it changed direction and became the symbol for the A or the A. We say A in French. Then the house, which gives us the bet. And you can ask Hebrews what the bet stands for. You know, they'll tell you it stands for a house. That's the beta, and so on. So we have all different symbols that ultimately made it into the um Roman or Latin script. So Africans played a big part with writing and literacy. Big T is writing. You have to come out of it. It's hard to do. Phoenician is at least 4,000 years younger than Nile Valley Africans. And Arthur agrees with Big T. So for the record, We read that the Phoenician goes back to probably 11th century BC. That would be like 1100 BCE. We have Medu writing that dates at least 3000 BC with the Nama palette. So, as a matter of fact, Nama Nama's lifetime is usually 3100 BC, right? And since we were told 11th century BC, it means that the Medu Neter is at least 2000 years older than the Phoenician. Before Nama, we have some inscription with Medu Neter, but it's really, names of rulers. We don't really have like long texts. So, brothers and sisters, are there some of you who would like to learn the Medu Neter? Oh, Inspire One is raising his hand. Well, that's a beautiful thing. Now, which day? Yes, $10 per class. Now, I have these new time slots that I will prefer will be used for small groups. But if that's the only time that will be suitable to you, then we'll pick one of those time slots. Yes, Dallas, Texas. So this one is, so let me see the time in Texas. Wednesday, Wednesday, and so time converter. So if I put this and I put that time, oh, every time you want to do something, it's when it slows you down. Oh, come on. So there, and Dallas. Now, would 3 p.m. EST be okay with you? Um, on Wednesday or Tuesday? And Big T wrote, I have respect for y'all. I'm going to get with you, Bro Shaka, on your classes. Yeah, whenever. Well, the best thing we will be to start now or schedule now. It's easier than going back and forth with the emails with the different time slot, because usually it's like, would you be available that time, that time? What is your availability? And, we go back and forth. But, okay, Inspire One say, I work for myself, so my time is flexible. Okay, well, pick a day. Really, idealistically, it's best to keep it with the same day and doing it once a week. So Wednesday, what about Wednesday? Oh, and by the way, I've shared my email address for whoever will catch this video after the live stream is over. BOSSSTYLYX at msn.com. It's best to copy and paste it so There's no mistake with the email address. Yes, so Wednesday is okay with you. Well, all I require, like I tell everybody, is to receive the payment before the class. And for those who don't know, yes, yeah, you can email me, brother. This is a Cash App and the PayPal. I prefer the PayPal. It's more suitable to me, but I understand that there are fees on PayPal, so you can use Cash App if you prefer, because there's no fees on Cash App. So yeah, Wednesday, 3 p.m. EST, your time, Dallas, Texas. That's fine with me. That's fine with me. And same with you, Big T. If you feel ready, Tuesday, 3 p.m. EST. I don't know what's your time zone. And I've had quite a few learners lately, and I'm happy. And that's one of the reasons why I'm insisting in trying to find new learners, because before I will mention it, but not really dwell on it. But once I started, making live stream and really talking about it at length, then I had new learners at almost each live stream. And once again here, we'll inspire one that's going on board. So I don't mind making a live stream for. I've been live streaming for an hour and a half. I don't mind that. Right now it's 5 a.m. in France. When I started live streaming, it was about 3 a.m. You know, um, I prefer to do that and getting a new learner. And back then, you remember, brothers and sisters, I would live stream for 5 hours, 6 hours, and I don't get any learners. Now, there's a time I used to receive, some donations. I used to receive some love, but after a while, I would not receive anything. So I would be live streaming for 5, 6 hours at very early hours, and people will not get on board. Now that I'm live streaming and being more geared towards the Medu nature, I have a lot less participation than before, because I understand people prefer to talk about anything and everything. But I'm a bit more focused on the culture, you see, because I've been learning a lot. I've been preparing slides. Um, I actually have. I'll tell you the amount of slides that I have. I have over 1,000 slides for the middle lecture classes, and the vocabulary that I send will be much less than that, because some slides might be about a sentence, and the sentence that I will send to you as a vocabulary, it will be a sentence translated with transliteration, pronunciation, and the meaning and the definition. Because after each class, I send the vocabulary that we go through, so you can practice with it. You know, you can use it as if it was flashcards, because we all, more or less, we all have smartphones. So don't be afraid. You will not receive about 1,000 pictures. But as for the slides, in order to explain and go through the grammar and so on, there's over 1,000 slides. So you've noticed that for a while I wasn't live streaming. I kept being busy. Now I need to ease myself, so I will put a video. How long is this one? No, it's not long enough. Let me look for one that's a bit long. Okay, I'll play that one. I'll play that one. I'll play that. I'll play this one, and I'll be right back. Hold on. Utep Senuhena Senut Itiren Ishakandugu Kemet. I hope you're doing well. I just want to check the sound quality. Bear with me, I won't be long. It's one of the best things to do because, for example, they can't hear you. You're just wasting time talking in the air. So I just want to make sure that the quality is okay. That's great. For example, they can't hear you. You just wait. All right. So you've seen the title, which is White Man Paid by a Black Man to Go Against His Brother. And then in parentheses, there's a question, betrayal. I would like to know your 2 cents on the situation. This is regarding a situation with someone called Garfield. He invited Dr. Richard Carrier to address Jabari, to challenge Jabari. I don't have any problem with that. What is surprising to me is that someone close to Garfield has said publicly, has confirmed publicly that Garfield paid that white man to go against his brother. And Garfield was supposed to debate Jabari. We had the COVID situation. It could still be done on an online platform. I'm not in people's minds. But to me, it looks like Garfield realized that he couldn't handle his own. So he went and he got somebody else. I'm wondering if black people who go on Garfield channel get paid. Now, I find it a bit strange when we have people who talk about black people, the black community, but then they're going to pay a white man to go against one of his kind. And don't get me wrong, people can check the live streams, the comments. I'm not the type to put color on scholarship. My thing is, why do people talk about the black people, black community so much? And then they're going to turn around and do stuff like that. Once again, there's an obsession regarding Kemetic people. You see? Because they have teachings and lessons that says that Africans are living a jungle life. And when I said they, I'm talking about the group. I'm not singling one person. That's all good. They don't have any criticism. You understand what I'm saying? They don't make several shows going against their teachings. But once again, this obsession towards Kemetic people. The same people who talk about, we come from West Africa, they don't practice any West African culture. Not at all. As a matter of fact, sometimes you hear them, they sound like Christian apologists. Talking about, oh, I grew up with Christianity. So that's what I know. It looks like Kemetic people are not allowed to have a different worldview. And I think it's very interesting. Now, I would like to see the debate between Dr. Richard Carrier and Jabari Osaze. I would like to see that. And I understand that Jabari doesn't want to do that via Garfield's platform, because indeed, if someone invites a person to critique another person, that's not the best way to just say, hey, I invited that person, and you be there on that date. Can you come? No. If you want those two to get at it, to debate, to discuss, you holler at the two and you ask them, okay, when can we do this? That's the way to do it. You know what I'm saying? To invite someone and say, hey, yeah, he's there, he's going to address you. You can come if you want. And then you're going to tell the people, oh, but I told him, I invited him. Come on now. But anyway, I understand that Jabari wants to go another route. Jabari says that he wants to do that like not online. Understand what I'm saying? So we'll see how it turns out. We will see. I've heard some very interesting things. But indeed, sometimes they come up with some claims and try to make it ridiculous and ascribe that towards Kemetic people. You understand what I'm saying? But the hypocrisy is just crazy. The hypocrisy is just crazy. So now, I don't usually go on people's platform, but I will consider knowing that, white people get so much respect that they get paid when they go on black people's platform. You know what I'm saying? The same people who go against Kemetic people, we don't hear them going against other people. Strange. The same people who try to claim West Africa, they're not saying anything about this anti-black and anti-African teaching. Africans are living a jungle life. I'm talking about the teachings. Africans are not civilized. Black people are cursed, disfigured. The physical appearance or phenotype is the essence of ugliness. I found that very strange. The hypocrisy is heavy. The hypocrisy is heavy. And I will leave it there. I wanted to state that for the record, because you know how people are. They remove videos. They say, no, it wasn't me. They say, no, I didn't say that. No, I didn't do that. That's just for the record. I'm not even tripping on that, but that's interesting. That's very interesting.
For just $67, you can use any fancy editing software.
Okay. Thank you for waiting. Now, Big T, saw your messages. What about Monday at what time is it? EST? Oh, it's 11 p.m. EST. Yes, 11 p.m. EST. Would that be suitable to you? Well, Inspire One, I've received the paper. Thank you. I'm going to prepare the link and send it to you. So that's done already. First, I will add it to my diary because without my diary on that phone, I will be lost. I have plenty of classes. I actually have classes. Okay, I'll leave it there. I don't need to go into specifics. So, Wednesday, hold on, the next Wednesday. Oh, my bad. My bad. My bad. Brother Inspire One, I hope you're still there. There's a new learner, and we have the Wednesday slot, um, time slot. Can we make it Tuesday, 3 p.m. EST? I hope you're still here, Brother Inspire One. Oh, great, great. Okay, so um, I was send. Yes, thank you. That's great. That's great. Because I looked at the current week. I did not look at the next week. So great. So let me add this inspired one. Okay, and now I'm going to prepare the link and send it to you. Oh, I don't have the email, do I? If I go on the paper, probably the email will show. So go to um, there, there, and there, and there. Medu Nature. That's link. So that's Tuesday, March 8th. And it's at 3 EST. Let me prepare the link, which will only take a few clicks. Now, Tuesday, March 8th, PM EST. I'm almost finished. That's it. All right. I'll send an email to you, brother. Inspired one. Yes, 3 p.m. EST. And well, I've sent you to the email of the PayPal. So if you use a different email, feel free to. But if it's the same email, I already got it from the PayPal. So feel free to confirm to me that you received my email. I've sent it already. Got it. Okay, great, great. That's lovely. That's lovely, lovely, lovely. The community of learners is just growing, and amazingly, it's been growing for the last few days. And I've been live streaming for 2 years. If I knew, I would have insisted a little bit more. Uh, I felt like I was sounding like that I would be sounding like a salesman if I would insist a little bit more. But that's a lesson in life, you know. Um, you can all see this, we're far from the participation that we had before. But you know, that's fine with me. I'd rather spend hours making classes than hours just talking. Because when we do the classes, the people, the learners, will actually acquire knowledge that will enable them to go to museums and read on artifacts. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not claiming that you will be able to read all the artifacts that you see. You'll be able to read some sentences on different artifacts, and eventually, when you feel ready, you'll be able to fly on your own. Get yourself some dictionary or some book, and then learn on your own. But you will have a strong foundation. You will learn in a few weeks what it took me years to learn, and you'll be able to share. Some of you have children. You'll be able to teach them basically, and they will be able to take it further if they want to. You know, they will real definitely be able to take it far, very far. You know. Yeah, I've received your reply, Brother Inspire One. Yes, lovely. And like I said, you will have the learners. We have videos to practice with because I had so many few new learners lately. So I will go to the museum and go through some artifacts and show you the glyphs and the few words that we went through, just so you can practice to recognize and how to read them, the direction, and so on. And I think it's a good thing to see directly from original artifact. We go through original artifacts on them during the classes. That would be like extra material, really. How do they say? Practice makes perfect. You know, and the quote unquote Medu alphabet, as I usually refer to, quote unquote, the uniliterals. Once you're familiar with them, once you know them by heart, or the majority of them, you can fly. It's really the basis. It's the same, with the Arabic and the Hebrew, for example. Now, the Arabic alphabet, uh, I know it for the most part. And when you do know the alphabet, then it's just way more easy. And when you learn a new language, for example, when you start learning the Arabic, it's a bit boring to just try to learn the alphabet before you get to learn, words and sentences. So you kind of do the two at the same time. And with the Hebrew, it's even worse because the Arabic, has just few diacritical marks. The fatah, the kasra, the sukun, the shadda. That's about it. But the Hebrew, besides the gimel, there's so many different dots. The different vowel points. Uh, it would take much. It would take longer, I would say. But on the other hand, the Hebrew has a few letters that have a final shape, as with the Arabic, almost all the letters have a well, the majority of the letters have a final shape and a middle shape. Well, I say middle shape for lack of better words, but basically isolated shape a shape at the beginning of a word, a shape at the middle of a word, and a shape at the end of a word. So this can be challenging. But with the Medu nature, the glyphs don't change. The only thing that will change is the spelling. The same word can have the different spelling, but the pronunciation remains the same. See, the pronunciation remains the same. But you can have some glyphs. You can have a spelling with more glyphs and a spelling with less glyphs, but it will be spelled the same. It will be pronounced the same. So Menu Nature is much more easier than people would have thought if they attempted to either learn or get interested into the system of the Arabic and the Hebrew. See, a lot of people would think the Menu Nature is very difficult because they did not delve into the Arabic or the Hebrew. Now, I think Big T is no longer with us. The message just in case. What about Monday at 11 EST, 11 p.m. EST? Is there anybody else that wants to join or sign up for the classes? Take the opportunity. Take the opportunity. Now, really, EST, I would prefer groups, but if there's no group, it's all good. It's all good. As a matter of fact, ultimately, the new learners will be able to bring some new learners. And the good thing as well, when I'm live streaming and looking for new learners, is that those who are interested will get on board straight away, like you have seen. Inspire won't do, like you have seen a few other people do over the last week and or last 2 weeks. As with other people, I mean, there's nothing wrong with inquiring. There's no obligation. It's not mandatory, but you go through several emails and they'll tell you, yeah, I'll do it. And then they don't do it. So, it's all right. But when it's a live stream, it's like, boom, that's it. It's done. You free that time? Yes, I'm free that time. Okay, boom. And like you have seen, they already make the payment way ahead. You see, they don't even wait for the same day or the day before. They do it, right now. And so add it to the diary and then it's on. And that's all it takes, really. That's all it takes. You don't need to fill any registration form. All you need, brothers and sisters, a at least a mobile phone, but preferably a computer, a personal computer or PC, as we say, because the screen will be larger and I guess it would be more comfortable to go through the slides. But some people do the classes with their mobile phone. If you have a headset, it's better, particularly if you're not alone in the house. You might have a spouse, you might have children, you might have um, how do you say, housemates. Um, Housemates is more British. I forgot the term you use in America. But basically, you might have other people living in the house. You might be sharing a house. So with the headset, it'll be more comfortable, less background noise. But it's not mandatory. If you don't have a headset, it's all good as long as your computer or smartphone. Well, the smartphone will pick up the sound, of course, but as long as your computer can pick up the sound, then it's on. Yeah, roommate. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Roommate. Roommate. Hey, Mac Money. That's the rapper. How you doing? You see, it's 5:39 a.m. and that's a time where I can catch my peeps. I catch a few when I'm on lunch break, but that's for the early birds. I guess people work night shift and maybe they get home, or maybe they start very early. My money, if you want to learn the method nature, then seize the opportunity. I was just talking about this. But like I was saying, no need for any registration form. All you will need is just at least a smartphone, but preferably a computer. If you have a headset, it's better, but it's not mandatory. Any song. Oh, it's 8 p.m. Oh, you're on the West Coast. Okay. On the West Coast. I don't have anybody from the West Coast taking the classes. And if I do, then I will be corrected during the next class. Hey, I'm from the West Coast. What you talking about? I have people from the South, I have people from the East Coast, and then from different other countries. So yeah, um, all you need to do is just send $10 ahead of the class, and we do this live. It's private. It will not be broadcasted like this live stream is, and it's on. And if any wants to do the group thing, it's good. Oh, RP. She wrote, get in affair. See, that's some Medu, you know. Get in affair, everyone. So you're live, Shaka. Good night. Super sleepy. Thank you. Yeah, it's 5:40 a.m. right now. But it's the weekend, so MacMoney wrote, I want to get it get it in with you now that I have more downtime. Wow. RP wrote, holla at Shaka for some lessons, peeps. She takes the classes. No, she actually made a testimonial. And I did not ask her. She did that, on her own accord. I didn't ask for any testimonials. So I'm very happy when people make testimonials because I never asked for them. But you have the playlist. For those who don't know, you have the playlist of the Medu Nature testimonial. Well, if you have more time, Money, let me see. For example, uh, Big T is no longer there, but I proposed um 11 p.m. on Mondays, preferably the same day and the same time. You know, that would be best. That would be best. So any day of the weekend that you think you will be able to be there on a regular basis, that's best. Of course, life is life. Sometimes you have unexpected things that come up, emergencies and all that. So if you miss one class, it's all good. But it's best when it's regular. Because sometimes people they have stuff coming up, and then when they miss like 2 weeks, then they are a bit rusty. Gigs that they knew very well, they kind of forgot a little bit of them, and but it's not the end of the world because really, I myself learned several languages, and well, the Arabic that was once a week, and I've rarely missed it. I remember missing it when my daughter was born, and she wasn't. born on the day of the lesson, but about that time. So I had a new baby. Um, but there was some strike or some situation where the teacher couldn't make it, and already after 1 week, there's a lot that you forget. I will not really go through the material because I work full time and I'm also giving middle lecture classes. So I don't really have much time. And really, you're supposed to practice at least a little bit. But if you miss a class, there's 2 weeks that goes by and you forget even more. And anybody who speaks a foreign language can realize how important it is to practice a language. You know, you see, our brother Mac Money, and that's the difference. And really, I don't want people to feel bad because I know there's some people, they are good people and they've been following me for a long time, you know. But this is just a fact. You see, the brother just sent the cash app. Now, I haven't received the email yet, but I expect it will come shortly. And well, there it is. I've refreshed the page and there it is. I've received it. Thank you. Now, so that's obviously for class. So Monday, 11 p.m. Would that suit you, brother McMoney? No, sorry, not 10 p.m. 11 p.m. EST. 11 p.m. EST. Would that be okay? If Monday is not okay, you can pick any day of the week. But if Monday will be okay, that will suit me because it's 5 a.m. And oh, Mark Money wrote, "That's for the law, brother. If I catch it, I do. If I don't, oh well." No, but actually, I'm scheduling with you. I'm scared. I will not do it if nobody's if nobody's available. So those are the new slots, the new time slots. So the reason why Monday suits me is because 11 p.m. EST, that's 5 a.m. Usually I wake up at 6, but for the classes, I can wake up at 5 a.m. So I have the weekend, the Sunday, so I can rest. It's not that difficult waking up at 5 a.m. But during the rest of the week, you know, but I manage it. It's all good. So if there's, it was, you said you will try Monday, yeah, 11 EST. But it's about what suits you as well. It has to suit both of us. So if there's any other of the day of the week, um, that will suit you at 11 p.m. EST, let me know which day suits you best or which days suits you best. Or 11 EST is 2 p.m. West Coast time. That's fine for me. Only 2 p.m. Hold on, that seems to be strange to me. I mean, if that's fine with you, that's okay. But I'm a bit surprised. I would have thought that the time in LA will be like 2 hours behind. That's a huge difference there. Because here we have. Oh, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. I said EST. I confused myself. That's 11 p.m. Oh yes, it's EST. Yes, 11 p.m. EST. Hold on. I'm surprised there will be 9 hours difference. No. Uh, time converter. So if I put EST, that's New York time, York, and well, that's 11 already. And then I put well, I put LA, Los Angeles. Oh, no, it's only 3 hours different. So there must be some confusion. Yes, you're maybe I'm wrong, law. Yeah, I think there's some confusion here because from what I can see from the online time converter, um, when it's 11 p.m. in New York, and it's 8 p.m. in LA. So I'm pretty sure that the time is the same all over the West Coast. Are you on LA time? Los Angeles time? Yeah, LA time. Yeah, definitely. So um I don't think that website is wrong. That's time and date. And as a matter of fact, check that link. We don't have the time as well. Save. Yes. See, that's the link there. Time and date. And if you click on it, you can see New York, 11 p.m. or 2300 hours. Then that gives you 8 p.m. or 2000 hours in LA. So would 8 p.m. be okay with you on Monday? Yes, indeed. That's a 3 hour difference, indeed. So yes, 8 p.m. Yeah, that's great then. That's great. So let me add it to my diary and then I will send the link to you. So that's done as well. You see, brothers and sisters, two brothers who got on board. You see? See that easy? That easy. So the next one will be Monday 7. Mac Money. And no, no, no. Actually, let me do it this way. That's it. Now let me prepare the link so that I can send it to you. It's actually tomorrow. Well, tomorrow for me because I think in America it's yeah. So in America it's going to be midnight. So it's already Sunday basically here in France. So for me it's tomorrow morning, which is lovely. You had the class before Inspired One, right? It's just a matter of abilities. Um, so Big T, if that would suit you, if Mac Money is okay with it, and if you're okay with it, you could have the classes at the same time. You know. Now let me prepare the link. That would be my first learner from LA. Now, um, which is 8 p.m. LA. 7. But, oh, I need your email, brother. So, um, if you can email me there, I have to wait for the public to see. So I can send the link to you. So it's there. You can copy and paste it is better to avoid any mistake. BOSSSTYLYX at msn.com. I have the link ready. I just need your email address to send it to you. And it's best you send it to me now because the class is tomorrow. So, never know what could happen. As a matter of fact, I'm going to wait to receive the email from Brother McMoney. And I think I will put an end to the live stream and get a little bit of sleep before I go to the museum and prepare some practicing material for the new learners. It will also help. Well, I mean, it might not really help the people who've been taking classes for a while because what I will show is stuff that they have mastered by now. But who knows? They might still, they might focus on words that will not point out. Email send, great. So refresh the page. Yeah, got it. And when it went in the spam folder, but it's all good. And now I'm sending the link to you. So Medu, that's a class Monday, March 7. It's 8 p.m. LA time. 8 p.m. LA time. Boom. That's it. If you can just confirm that you have received my response with the link for the class. And if there's anybody else interested, then holla at me. Holla at me. If you know some people who are interested, tell them. Got it. Great. That's beautiful. All right. Well, thank you, brothers and sisters. It's been 2 hours and 26 minute live stream so far. And in 2 minutes, it's going to be 6 a.m. in France, where I'm currently residing. And I am very happy. I'll be tired, so it might not really look like it, but I'm very happy that I have two new learners on board. It really makes me happy. You know, the latest class I had, the brother at the end, he really let me know how he appreciated it. And I told him, I'm just glad to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Because to give a class is one thing, but you know, when I give the class, I don't want to show off the knowledge that I have. I want people to understand. And when I see that they understand, and on top of that, they're enjoying it, what more do you want? You know? So the community of learners is growing, you know, and it's going to be beautiful with our children. It's going to be beautiful with our children. So, all of you there, brothers and sisters, stay safe, stay healthy, and if I'm allowed to, by the nature, I will definitely holler back at you. Hotel.
Now, for the record, for those who don't know, I'm giving Medu Nature classes. And here, that's the flyer. Okay? So, those who are interested, feel free to holler at me. If you're not interested, it's cool. But I recommend that everybody who has not yet seen the video, Kemet and Ma'at, Before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, then watch it. It has about 300,000 views and really deserves to have a lot more.
I just want to let everyone know who's listening in now and who's going to listen to this stream in the future. I just had my first Medu Nature class by Brother Shaka today, and I've had other Medu Nature lessons by other teachers, and I can tell you right now, the brother is the best in the game. He is that was one of the best classes I've ever had ever. So if you're interested in learning the Medu Nature, if you're interested in getting the basics of it, Brother Shaka is an awesome teacher. Get with him, and it's extremely affordable. This brother is giving us his time and his skills, and he's basically giving it away. I mean, I just consider it a donation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody is interested in learning the Medu Nature, get with this brother right here. He's an awesome, awesome, awesome teacher. And I'll end with that.
Hotep Senu, Hena Senut. This is Julie, also known as Servant of Yah, and I'm currently taking the Medu Nature classes with Brother Shaka, and it has been an amazing experience. Only 2 lessons so far, and I feel like I've been taking the classes for months, just with the how in-depth he goes into the vocabulary words, the construction of the language, the grammar. It's been immeasurable, the experience. And one thing that comes across, hands down, is his extreme passion for teaching this to anyone who is willing to learn and has an interest in learning. So I highly suggest, if you are interested, even a minimal interest, that you subscribe to the classes with Brother Shaka. It's such a nominal amount for how much you get. I know, like, our last class was over 2.5 hours. It felt like 2 minutes, but because that's how, involved you are in what he's teaching and how he teaches and how compassionate he is about what he teaches. Also with sharing materials free of charge, no question, no doubt. It's just what he does. He doesn't have to, but he does. And so I just wanted to give a short testimonial about the class and the effectiveness of the class. And all of that is attested to how studied Brother Shaka is. So I highly recommend anyone with a minimal interest that you do sign up for the Medu Nature class. Hotep.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is Ma'at Forever. Don't forget to watch the video entitled Kemet and Ma'at. Don't forget to share Kemet and Ma'at on my channel on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or other social media that you use. Email, text messages, you name it. Those who wish to donate can do so on paypal.me/ma'atforever.